faith, family, values we were born with, what we believe in, and what keeps us together. For decades, we've been told the Democratic Party believed in us, but it's clear now their beliefs aren't the same as ours. We have leaders out there just like you who believe in you. They are Texas Latino Conservatives, and they're working to represent you.
Entonces soy conservadora y no lo sabía.
Find a candidate who represents your values at TexasLatinoConservatives.com.
Welcome to TLC Live. I'm Andrea Gomez.
Who was that handsome guy?
It was not you. It was Pastor Luis Cabrera, for sure.
Oh, Pastor Luis Cabrera.
For sure it was. You're not talking about you, right?
Well, I was
Hope
hoping
not.
to get a compliment, but obviously not. So, welcome to the program. It's great to have you back this week. And what do we have? 2 days left for early voting. Today's Wednesday.
Correct.
So you have today, the rest of today. Polls close at 7. You have Thursday and Friday.
Yes.
So if you live in Houston, Texas, make sure you vote. Let's do a little shameless self-promotion, Andrea.
Uh-oh.
I have a gift for you, Andrea. This is for your house. So make sure, here we go. Oh, let's get that guy. Make sure you vote for that guy. So that's a gift for you for your house.
Anuncio político pagado por la campaña de Orlando Sánchez.
Okay.
Bueno,
Okay,
este es más para mi casa. Mira, llegué a mi casa un día y él dijo, voy a recoger algo a tu casa. Le dije, ok, ahí te veo. Llega a mi casa y literal, cuando le estoy abriendo la puerta, él ya estaba instalándome.
Como un picador.
Sí.
Como un picador.
So I'm going to say it in English. So he told me, I'm going to go to your house to pick up something. And I said, okay. So he rang the bell. And while I'm walking to open my door, as soon as I open my door, he is already putting signs in my front yard.
And what I said, obviously bullfighting is very popular in Latin American cultures and in Spain. And before the bullfighter comes out, there are what's called picadores, the guy with the spears that don't have the cape, and they, pick the shoulder of the bull. And so I felt like a picador.
Yeah, and I even got a letter from the Homeowner Association.
Tell them it's your constitutional right of free speech.
No, I'm joking. Oh. No, it's because it was you.
And I have you better quit being mean to me. I have another gift for you. You ready?
Oh,
your
God, no!
Your very own pajama top. So, and you can get these. You can just go to my website, orlandosanchez.com. Political ad paid for by the Orlando Sanchez campaign.
Oh, my goodness.
So you can think of me when you retire for the evening. So this is your gift. If you want one, you can go to my website, orlandosanchez.com. Send me your email and your address, and I'll mail you a T-shirt. While they last, I only have a few left.
I'm going to just put it, cut it like a crop, and I want to go to the gym like that and working out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I take publicity any way I can get it.
But you know who used this for real?
Your son.
My son and my daughter. They're like big fans of you.
Good.
I don't, they're young. They don't know better.
Hey, by the way, they need to vote.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
My son was last week in town, and he went to vote. And he's
last week. Early voting started this week. Oh, yeah, that's right. Last week. That's
last
right.
week? It started last week.
Okay, good. All right. Who do we have on today?
So,
we have the
handsome man.
The handsome man, okay.
The handsome man and a beautiful...
Not me.
No, for sure it's not you. The handsome man that now is getting people in the street asking for autographs. He became very famous after that commercial. Now Hollywood is calling him, so we may lose Pastor Luis Cabrera to Hollywood.
Well.
So we're going to have Pastor Luis Cabrera, not only in the commercial, but he is the director of our TLCP, Texas Latino Conservative Pastors. He's been doing a fantastic job since he is in charge of that. And we had Pastor Cabrera way before he became our leader in TLCP. And now he is putting together a big amount of pastors around Texas to fight and continue working for our conservative values.
There's a national poll that came out, and it talked about the incredible number of people that are leaving the Democratic Party that identify as Christians in this country, and the ever-growing number of voters in the United States that identify as Christians that are joining the Republican Party. There's a reason for that. And so the church, which plays an instrumental role not only spiritually but civically in this country, we have to wake up the church. Just because you're a pastor doesn't mean that you lose your constitutional right to talk about civic engagement. We certainly don't want pastors telling people how to vote and for whom to vote, but we certainly can encourage our pastors around the state of Texas to encourage their communities that are not registered to vote. And they can certainly encourage their communities to vote the values that are preached at the pulpit. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about that. So we want to make sure that we educate our pastors across the state. We want to bring them together and make them realize that we, the church members, the parishioners, have a civic duty to participate in the civil process, and that is picking the candidates that are going to lead your community. And so Pastor Luis has been doing a great job of putting together a group of pastors across the state of Texas. And, you know, one of the issues that we have is that we've got to register more Christian conservatives to go out and vote. And we don't want just Christians. I mean, we're talking about the Jewish community, our Muslim friends, everybody, whether you're an imam or you're a rabbi or you're a pastor, you have a civic duty to educate the community and encourage them to vote. But Pastor Luis Cabrera is our man that heads up Texas Latino Conservative pastors, and his job is to go across the state of Texas. We used him in this commercial because, one, he's a very handsome fellow. He's young and he's energetic.
And
charming. So, Luis, welcome to the program.
Hello, you too. You know, because of that Hollywood commercial, now I gotta hire a staff to take all the phone calls that I'm getting every single day.
You have a personal assistant right now.
Yeah, you probably need an agent.
Yeah.
I do. But yeah, you know what? That was a real powerful commercial because it's so true. You know, there's only one party right now that aligns with our values and morals, and it's a no-brainer. But yeah, so I'm honored to be a part of your show again. Thank you so much for having me on. But yeah, I'm you know, right now I'm working in the Houston area, as you do know, but there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of great pastors are passionate for their civic duties here in Houston. I've connected and networked with tons of them. And you know what, and of course, still working with U.S. Pastors Council with Reverend David Welch. I mean, it's been phenomenal, the work that we've been doing here in Houston for the past 3 months. And I know, Pastor, if you're watching me, you know what, early voting ends in 2 days. So you have to share it. And then, of course, the election is the next week. So, you know, you have to share it with your congregations to go out there to vote. And we'll talk about more of that here in a little bit.
So, Luis, it's been a while since you've been on the program, but just very briefly, let's go over your background. You are an immigrant from Nicaragua, is that correct?
Correct. My parents came here in 1979. I was 2 years old, and we came from Nicaragua because, if you guys know the story, you know, Somoza, the president of Nicaragua, was overthrown by the Sandinistas, and my father was the Secretary of Education during that time. And so, as you will know, they wanted to kill everybody associated with the previous administration. And so our lives were literally endangered. And so we went to the U.S. Embassy, we got our visas, and we flew here to Washington in 1979.
Now, the other thing I want to mention very briefly, because we want to go into what you've been doing across the state of Texas and here in Harris County. You were also the spiritual leader long before a young lady from Mexico who became a U.S. citizen became the first Mexican-born woman ever elected to the U.S. Congress as a Republican, and that is Mayra Flores. Tell us a little bit about your association with Mayra Flores, and what do you... I mean, I have to think that your preaching from the pulpit, your association, your instruction, your education of Mayra had a lot to do with her tremendous notoriety, fame down in the Rio Grande Valley, in the Harlingen area and Brownsville area. Talk to us a little bit about your relationship with former Congresswoman, now candidate for U.S. Congress, Mayra Flores.
Yeah, she is definitely running again for Texas 34. But yes, it was a pleasure and still is the pleasure working with her. Like I said, I got the honor to meet her almost 2.5 years ago, and we crossed paths at some political rallies. And as a pastor, I was just there, promoting Christ and these political forums, and that's how we connected. And I got the honor of baptizing her 2 Easters ago, almost 3 Easters ago. And we connected, and what? Ever since then, I became her spiritual advisor. And during her campaign office was, currently in my church, and she was using one of the rooms there. So we connected, because we had the same values and morals, and I was just there to, try and encourage pastors to really, go out there and just do their civic duties. And so in the beginning, it was kind of like it was a struggle because a lot of pastors didn't really understand what I was doing. But what I told them is like, we as pastors have to have to get involved in this fight, especially politically speaking. And so, I started educating pastors. I started educating myself on my roles and my duties as not only as a pastor, but as a community leader. And so, when me and Myra met, I mean, it was just like, it was great because we both wanted the same thing. We wanted to, to really go and run on our values and morals. And of course, I just came along and kind of like helped her spiritually speaking. I mean, her family attended the church. I mean, she would come as often as she would. And of course, she went to go visit other churches to go, share her message. But even to today, I still, encourage her, guide her. I'm trying to just, be there for her whenever she needs me. I'm a phone call away. And so the relationship has grown. And right now, like I said, everybody knows her. And it's just, people now know me like as Myra's pastor. And so even when people don't understand what, everything that's happened and transpired for the past 2.5 years, like, they recognize her, and as, and then they recognize me through her. And so, but it's an honor just to be used in this way, in this capacity. And now to, leading TLCP, going around Texas and literally encouraging pastors that have our values as conservatives to get involved in their civic duty.
All right, real quick, and a shout out because you mentioned him. I'm really happy that you have reached out to Dave Welch, who has for years been a leader in Texas among the pastoral community in Texas, and particularly here in Harris County through the U.S. Pastor Council. So I'm just delighted and that you guys have been able to hook up, and I really expect great things from both of you.
Luis, the campaign, we call it No Lo Sabía. And, when we're immigrate from our countries.
Tell them what No Lo Sabía means in English.
I didn't know. So the campaign is I didn't know, No Lo Sabía. And the person that is on the commercial, it's she was actually the lady that was helping me raise my twins when I was in my time at Univision. When I was working for Univision, I have my babies. They were 2 months old, and I hired her to help me to raise my kids. She did a fantastic job with my kids. My kids love her till this day. She calls them every birthday, every year to wish them a happy birthday. So I personally choose her because she helped me to pass the values, the conservative values to my kids. Because when I was raising my kids, but I was working at Univision, so I couldn't dedicate full time to them at the beginning, the first 5 years, so she helped me also. Something that I noticed in this country, not over there, not in my country or not in Latin America when we live there, is that here, as she said in the commercial, so I am conservative and I didn't know. Yo soy conservadora y no lo sabía. In what part is this connection when we come to this country and all of a sudden we see a generation saying or going or lean to the liberal side and lose the values, the conservative values that we were raised?
Yeah, I mean, Andrea and Orlando, listen, every Latino that I know that came from another country, we had strong faith values and roots, even if you didn't go to church, like you had church at home, you had,
Yeah.
we were raised with our strong conservative values. And that's the thing about Latinos. And coming to this country, we understand that, maybe they don't know, how to go about it, but in a Latino home, you were raised with these values, whether you like it or not. Like, let me talk about myself real quick. Like my parents, yes, they did go to church, but even before they went to church, I mean, they instilled in us conservative values. And at that point, I didn't know that they were conservative. They were just, Latino values to me. God was always first, family was always second, and then our community was third. And so, these values now are more evident now with the Latino cultures, because you know what, a lot of Latinos, when I travel around Texas and I talk to pastors or even Latinos, they're, and when I educate them about the different parties and the different values that each party have, they're like, well, I didn't know. Well, then I align with this party. Well, yeah, because you're conservative. And so when I educate them, it's wonderful to see like how their eyes like open up and like, wow, I've been voting wrong for a long time, or I haven't been voting at all. I need to get involved in this fight. And so it's wonderful to see it, because as you know, I mean, we have strong family values. I mean, that's without question. And of course, faith is big in our community too. So, I just try to reaffirm that with the people that I talk to, especially pastors. And so it's just amazing just to see that, finally people are starting to wake up, like Orlando was sharing about that news article, that yes, a lot of Latinos are coming over because they're starting to see like, hey, you know what? We are conservatives. Why have we been voting this way for generations or for decades or for 5-10 years? And when we go there and educate them and give them the real facts, they're like, wow, like I am a conservative.
So I wanna bring to the program our second guest, and it's a pastor that you've been also working with in all the TLCP mission that we're doing. She is Pastor Alexa Arcila. She's actually from Bogota, Colombia, like me.
Paisana.
Paisana. As soon as she
Paisana.
starts speaking Spanish, I was like, oh, she's Colombiana. So I want to bring her to the show. But before she starts talking, I want you, Pastor, tell us, how do you guys met, Alexa and you, and what are you guys doing together right now?
Well, Pastor Alexa is a mover and a shaker for the kingdom of God and for Hispanic pastors as well in the Houston area. I met her through Pastor Israel Martinez from Mi Gente radio station. And so, yeah, I met her 2 months ago, actually 3 months ago, almost 3 months ago. And it was like we connected. And, she is a big supporter of what we do, and especially with TLCP. And then I'm a big supporter of what she does. So we're kind of working together for the same common goal. And so, what, I wanted to talk a little bit about, her work and us collaborating together as two organizations. And also I wanted to announce the event that's happening tomorrow, November 2nd. It's going to be awesome. So Pastor Alexa, welcome.
Thank you so much, Pastor Luis Cabrera. Andrea, thank you. Hi, Orlando. Thank you so much
Hello.
for having me today.
You bet.
It's a great honor to be here. And I honor God first, knowing that He's the one that is waking the people of faith up. We have a wake up call from the Lord. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to get the Hispanic community and the faith community, the Hispanic and the faith community, going out there and represent us, voting, and make our voice be loud through the voting. We know active in the community, we know acting in these government issues, but we need to be involved, and that's why we got together, group of pastors from the Latino community, and we're trying to have this event next week. In November the 2nd. It's going to be tomorrow, 11:30, and it's going to be in the 6,000 Heatherbrook Doctor. The church is called Philadelphia Church, La Iglesia Philadelphia, del Pastor Manuel. It's a beautiful facility. The Lord is just opening some doors to us. And we hoping and praying that we can get at least 50 to 70 pastors from the Hispanic community that supports conservative voting, conservative people that will represent our values, family, faith, and things that we know we want in this city. We want this city back to God.
Pastora, le voy a comentar que la conexión está un poco mala. Si quiere desconectar
Oh,
y reconectar, a ver si eso mejora la cosa. Mark, she's going to disconnect and hook back up. La
okay.
pastora estaba hablando y también Luis, del señor Israel Martínez. Quiero felicitarlo primero que todo porque Israel Martínez, de un programa que se llama Gente USA, tiene su revista, tiene su página Facebook, tiene su programa de radio, ha estado luchando por los valores de los hispanos, los valores conservadores por muchos años. Y estoy sumamente orgulloso que Luis, Israel, la pastora, todo el mundo se están uniendo, que no hemos visto eso en el pasado, para tratar de darle una voz a la comunidad, porque sabemos que en las elecciones municipales y en las elecciones general, los hispanos no están participando y por eso estamos haciendo este esfuerzo tan bonito, en mi opinión, para tratar de que la comunidad salga a votar. Así que, Israel Martínez, vamos a
Felicitarlo. So, Luis, Pastor Luis, please tell us about the event because we couldn't understand very well because the connection was not good. So tell us about the event tomorrow. What is about it? Who can participate? What the community can help you to have this event more successful?
Yeah, it's going to happen at Philadelphia Church in Houston tomorrow at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And so we're going to provide lunch for all the pastors that show up. And of course, you don't have to be a pastor to come to the event. If you belong to a church, if your pastor can't make it, if you're a faith leader, come on by, please. We want to have you. We're going to have a political forum. We're going to, we're going to ask questions to the candidates that are running for office here in Harris County, because, we want the pastors to find out, which candidates align with our conservative values and morals. So it's very important to get involved. We're going to hand out voter guides in English and Spanish. And so we are anticipating between 50 to 75 pastors being there. And so we are, like I said, we are collaborating with Pastor Alexa and Israel Martinez. And, it's just, and of course with Reverend David Welch from U.S. Pastors Council. So all of us are working together to get the vote out and to educate the faith community about these candidates that are running for office, because they got to know, what they stand for, what are the values and what are the morals. So Pastor Alexa is going to do a great job asking the candidates questions, and it's going to be in bilingual. So please show up. It's going to be in English and Spanish. So if you can show up, and that would be great. On November 2nd, which is tomorrow, show up and be blessed and come get connected. And hopefully I get to meet you.
So tell us about what is the candidates that you guys invited, who already confirmed that it will be there, and what is the questions that you guys gonna ask to them?
Alexa, que puede responder.
Yeah, Pastor Alexa.
Bueno, gracias. Bueno, tenemos la bendición de utilizar la misma encuesta, English o Spanish. Oh, sorry.
Cualquiera.
Ok. Vamos a usar la encuesta de USA Council Pastors. La encuesta la recibieron los candidatos. Ya se hizo un foro para pastores cristianos, octubre 18. Son las mismas preguntas. No estamos cambiando nada. Estamos, como dijo el pastor Cabrera, trabajando como unidad, como un solo cuerpo, ¿no? Como una sola entidad que busca no solamente promover que la gente hispana se active, que vote, sino que también conozcamos qué buscan los candidatos, qué apoyan y cómo también podemos apoyarlos. Entonces, el cuestionario es el mismo que ellos ya diligenciaron con el pastor David Weirs a través del USA Council Pastors de la ciudad. Vamos a manejar tal vez un formato un poquito diferente por cuestiones de tiempo. Vamos a hacer preguntas cerradas de sí o no, con respecto a lo que ellos ya respondieron, ¿no? Les preguntamos temas económicos, les preguntamos temas sociales, les preguntamos temas que nos preocupan y sobre todo que nos interesan como comunidad de fe y comunidad hispana. ¿Quiénes han confirmado? Confirmó de alcaldes, nos confirmaron el señor Gilbert García, Billy, que es una señora, son más o menos 7, 8 personas que han confirmado para mayor. Para City Council at Large tenemos confirmados a los pastores Willie Davis, la pastora Erika McCrasher, el señor Roy Morales, y bueno, aprovecho para confirmar al señor Orlando Sánchez.
Bueno, sí, fui a la última, claro, y los vi a todos ustedes. Como saben, nosotros aquí en TLC, Texas Latino Conservatives, patrocinamos estos eventos con mucho gusto, pero esto no me voy a comprometer ahora mismo, pero depende de lo que pueda ajustar en el horario, a ver si puedo llegar.
Pastor Cabrera, tell us about this is a historical event here in Houston. It never happened before between pastors and candidates to promote the vote, but also to find out if the candidates are aligned with the conservative values.
Yes, I mean, we just had one at Grace Church, and Orlando was there too at that event, and so we had a large group of pastors that showed up. But yes, I think pastors are now understanding, what the importance of them knowing who's running in their own city elections. They have to get involved, that they have to be in the know, and they have to vote and promote the vote through their churches and register people in their churches too. And so, pastors little by little, and that's the work that I'm doing. I'm talking to pastors, educating them, encouraging them to get involved in their civic duty. So it's wonderful to see, especially here in the Harris County area, like, with Pastor Alexis, with Reverend David Wells, Israel Martinez. I mean, there's so many, Pastor Richard Vega from CT Church. I mean, there's so many people are coming together to work together because they understand the importance of getting out to vote. And so now, I mean, we are seeing things historically.
Yeah, Luis, let me just say that not only are these pastors talking about encouraging their community to vote their value, but they're stepping up. You just mentioned Pastor Vega. I mean, not only is he trying to get his community and his church more involved in the civic process, but he stepped up as a candidate. So kudos to all of you for the hard work that you're doing in the state of Texas, in Harris County and in Houston. And, I'm just excited. I don't think I've ever seen a movement like this since like 1984, when Ralph Reed, a young man at the time, began the Christian Coalition for Ronald Reagan. And it was the Christian Coalition, the waking up of the community and getting them out to vote, that carried Ronald Reagan, one of the greatest presidents in our modern history, to victory. So it was, they called it the silent majority, people that had been sitting home, wringing their hands, gnashing their teeth, complaining like a dog sitting on a nail, but they weren't voting, and so they mobilized, and I see that happening in Texas, and I see Alexa, and I see you, and I see Israel and everybody coming together to create this movement in Texas that is just absolutely phenomenal.
What haven't been the feedback?
I mean, I see it happen.
What haven't been the feedback from the community, seeing church and politics together, and also from the candidates?
I mean, it's been it's kind of been like two different organizations colliding, but the people are starting to see, like, that the church is starting to wake up and starting to get involved, and and that's encouragement. That's encouraging for me as a pastor myself, and for the faith community, because like Orlando was saying, we have been the silent majority for far too long. And it's time for us to kind of encourage the pastors to get back into this fight, to just be a voice to be reckoned with, and especially a conservative voice. And like, we have laid down our voice. And so people are starting to see like, hey, there's movement going on. Like I've had pastors tell me like I've never seen political forums at churches before. Like I'm like, wow, like you guys are doing great work. And I'm like, you know what, maybe we can have one here at our church all over Texas. And so it's encouraging just to see the work that we're doing when we work together as a team and for the common good of all conservatives. So you know what, we are pushing hard and we're fighting hard. And with Pastor Alexa and all these other pastors here in Harris County, I mean, we are really, really doing a teamwork here. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
Pastora, ¿qué usted, en su opinión, ahora que está involucrada en este movimiento para tratar de motivar a la comunidad que participe en el proceso cívico? Quiere decir que se inscriban y que voten, ¿no? ¿Qué ve usted como la tarea más difícil para llegar a la comunidad, para informar a la comunidad, para embullar los que participen?
Bueno, un poco Andrea lo mencionaba, la concepción que tenemos de iglesia y política. Y necesitamos entender que no se trata de iglesia y política como dos entes separados. La iglesia siempre ha hecho parte del gobierno. Y voy a ir a la Biblia. Rey David era un gobernante, era el que hacía las leyes, el que ponía los impuestos, el que regulaba toda la nación de Israel. Él era un político, él era un gobernante. Entonces, eso ha sido muy importante, que si volvemos a las bases bíblicas, nos damos cuenta de que está escrito en la palabra que estamos llamados a ser nosotros quienes se involucran en los aspectos de gobierno. Eso ha sido una barrera difícil de romper, pero yo creo que el Señor lo está haciendo, está trayendo ese despertar en los pastores y en la comunidad de fe, de que no son dos cosas separadas, se trata de una sola cosa, porque es el bienestar de la comunidad lo que estamos siempre persiguiendo. Dios nos dio la responsabilidad de liderar gente, de tener una voz, y nos da unos oídos para hablarles. Por eso lo hacemos con los pastores, porque representamos autoridad, representamos una voz y tenemos una responsabilidad. Y la responsabilidad es educarlos con la verdad. Por eso somos conservadores. ¿Por qué? Porque queremos principios, valores en la sociedad, y eso no está separado de la Biblia. Todo lo que perseguimos está ahí. Y cuando yo digo, como pastor entendí que debo mezclarme completamente en esto, porque los espacios que nosotros no llenamos, otros los van a llenar, y por eso nuestra sociedad está como está. Entonces yo veo a Dios obrando a través de nosotros, hablando desde el púlpito, transformando América. Y ese es el eslogan de la asociación por la cual nos conformamos. Desde el púlpito vamos a transformar América. Y como comunidad hispana, como Andrea lo decía, sí es un evento sin precedentes antes visto, porque estás viendo que se está haciendo en una iglesia, es una de las iglesias hispanas más grandes de la ciudad, hermosísima, y es lo que el Señor está haciendo. Los hispanos llegamos a nuevos estándares, no solamente en lo económico, no solamente en lo educativo, no solamente en lo político. El Señor nos puso en autoridad y nos está poniendo en cabeza en esta ciudad, porque estamos siendo la mayoría y necesitamos llegar a esa mayoría hispana informándolos, porque es nuestra obligación. Cuando hay conocimiento, necesitamos entre...
Mira, la pastora Alexa dijo algo súper importante, y creo que esa es la clave de todo. Ella dijo, hay que ir a las bases de la Biblia. Y yo digo, hay que ir a las bases de nuestra sociedad. Las bases es la familia, las bases es la iglesia, las bases es nuestros valores, y eso es lo que se ha perdido. Es como una casa. Si tú no haces bien los cimientos, la casa se va a caer, se va a derrumbar en algún momento. Y eso es lo que está ocurriendo en esta sociedad y en este mundo. Mira cómo está el mundo.
Y un comentario muy bueno, Andrea, te voy a decir, porque lo que está sucediendo y lo que quieren hacer los izquierdistas, y yo sé que como colombianos, como nicaragüenses, como venezolanos, como cubanos, entendemos que cuando le entregamos la autoridad que tienen los padres y la iglesia para educar y sostener la comunidad, se la entregan al gobierno, ¿Qué es lo que pasa? Lo hemos visto en toda Latinoamérica, lo hemos visto en El Salvador, lo vemos en Cuba, en Venezuela, en Nicaragua. Es increíble. Y nosotros como inmigrantes aquí, documentados o indocumentados, venimos por una razón, para mejorar nuestras vidas. Y no vamos a permitir cometer el mismo error en los Estados Unidos como han cometido en los países latinoamericanos. Eso es lo que estábamos huyendo. ¿Y cómo vamos a llegar aquí y permitir que los izquierdistas y muchos demócratas empiecen a imponer esos valores que nosotros sabemos que son un fracaso en nuestra comunidad? Lo vemos en la zona escolar. Lo vemos que el gobierno quiere decirle a nuestros hijos que a la edad de 10 años se pueden cambiar de varón a hembra. Pueden decidir quiénes son. Quieren decidir que el Dios es el gobierno. No como nos dice la Biblia. No es verdad. Es derrumbar la comunidad
absolutamente entera. Eso es lo que estamos viendo hoy en día, y lo más triste, no solamente, Orlando, no es que estamos permitiéndolo, pero lo estamos promoviendo.
Y por los medios.
Exacto. No solamente lo estamos permitiendo, pero lo estamos promoviendo. Y lo más difícil y el reto más grande que tenemos los que sí promovemos los valores conservadores y vamos a la base y seguimos luchando por mantener esa base, es que las nuevas generaciones se nos están saliendo de las manos, y se nos están saliendo de las manos porque yo siempre le echo la culpa a los padres. Yo digo, la primera educación viene en los padres. Nosotros no podemos dejar que a nuestros hijos los críen en las escuelas, los educan académicamente, pero no podemos permitir que los críen. La crianza es nuestra responsabilidad, y eso es lo que se está perdiendo en las generaciones de hoy en día. Los padres están dándole la crianza de sus hijos a las escuelas, a los teléfonos, a los iPads, a las computadoras y a la tecnología. Y ahí está el más grave error. Y eso es el trabajo más grande que nosotros, los que estamos luchando por los valores conservadores, es nuestro mayor reto. ¿Cómo llegar a estos padres, a estas nuevas generaciones, y decirles cómo solucionar esta desconexión que ellos están teniendo y no están pasando los valores que sus padres les dieron? Porque ellos son la generación intermedio. Ellos son la generación intermedio, que son los que están creando el futuro de nuestro país, de nuestro mundo, del planeta. Así que creo que el trabajo es grande, el reto es mayor aún, y hay mucho por hacer. Pero estamos haciendo algo, que eso es lo importante.
Y mira, eso se ha manifestado y se ha visto en las últimas semanas cuando los terroristas atacaron a Israel. Que la juventud en universidades, yo entiendo apoyar a los palestinos, eso es una cosa diferente.
A los civiles,
a los
exacto,
civiles,
a los
pero
civiles.
Es otra cosa apoyar a Hamas, correcto, a Hezbollah, a ISIS, y le han lavado el cerebro a la juventud de este país. Imagínense ustedes que la juventud ha salido a apoyar a lo que ha hecho Hamas en Israel.
Increíble. Increíble.
Y yo estaba viendo en redes sociales de muchos israelitas y famosos israelitas, personas que ahora trabajan en Hollywood, como Gal Gadot, que es la Wonder Woman, y Lioraz, que es de una serie muy importante en Netflix. Estaban diciendo que increíble que los israelitas, los judíos, somos la única comunidad y el único país que debemos explicar por qué nos estamos defendiendo. Y nos condenan por defendernos. Nunca ninguna otra sociedad, ningún otro país le pasa eso. ¿Por qué?
Y las Naciones Unidas demandando explicar por qué se tienen que defender. Ajá. Eso es obvio, ¿no? Y ahora están pidiéndole que deje de bombardear a Hamas. No, hay que destruir a Hamas. Claro. Igual que los Estados Unidos, después del 9/11, en el 2001, tuvimos que destruir a ISIS y a los terroristas.
Y algo bien importante aquí que está ocurriendo. En la administración anterior, por primera vez en la vida, habíamos visto que se estaba haciendo paz en el Medio Oriente. Que países que jamás
Egipto.
Que países como Israel, los israelitas jamás podían viajar a los Emiratos Árabes, finalmente lo podían hacer. Estábamos viendo que finalmente se estaba viendo un proceso de paz en el Medio Oriente que iba a tomar tiempo, claro, pero era el inicio de algo muy grande. Y en menos de una administración, porque ni siquiera hemos terminado la administración actual, y mira en el momento, en el mundo que estamos en este momento.
Y voy a hacerle la pregunta a los pastores. Esto es evidente que el diablo de verdad está en contra de la paz. Porque cuando ven que la paz está dando marcha adelante, ¿qué hacen? Espabilan los terroristas para crear guerras, para crear muerte, para crear terrorismo. ¿Es verdad o no es verdad?
Sí, es la mera verdad. Y por eso como pastores tenemos que enseñar a nuestra gente que todo termina y comienza en las casas.
Sí.
Ahí está la clave. Si no criamos a nuestros niños y hijos en principios de la Biblia, vamos a perder una generación completamente. Y los
vamos a perder el mundo, que es lo peor.
Sí, pero y más esa nación, si no los levantamos como gente cristianas y del pueblo, vamos a perder todo y esta nación se va a destruir. Es tiempo que la iglesia se levante y que peleamos
y haga algo
por nuestros valores.
Absolutamente.
Bueno.
Tuvimos un medio programa en español, me encanta porque nos los han pedido bastante.
Bueno, vamos a ver. Bueno, última palabra, Pastor Alexa.
Call to action.
Bueno, call to action. Okay, in English. Let's go in English.
No, dalo tú en español y el Pastor Cabrera en inglés.
Yo lo hago.
Okay. Bueno, no, el llamado es acompáñenos a este foro. Es la primera vez que los pastores hispanos hacen un foro. Es la primera vez que los pastores hispanos se agrupan buscando no solamente apoyar, pero también tener respuestas de lo que nos interesa. Como hemos dicho, nos interesa saber quiénes nos van a gobernar, porque la palabra de Dios lo dice, ¿no? Cuando los justos gobiernan, el pueblo prospera. Es que ni siquiera nos dice les va a ir bien, van a estar felices, sino prospera. Es decir, que una sociedad prospera cuando tenemos buenos gobernantes. Y al contrario, cuando tenemos malos gobernantes, la palabra dice, el pueblo gime. O sea, ni siquiera dice está triste, le va mal, sino gime. Quiere decir que hay un lamento muy grande. Estamos a tiempo, tenemos todavía unos días para ir a votar. Sabemos que el grupo de votantes en el pueblo hispano está en aumento. Conozco casos de hispanos que jamás han votado, son ciudadanos, tienen el derecho, no lo ejercen, y estamos activándolos y diciéndoles, miren, salgamos a votar, porque sí tenemos una voz como hispanos, sí tenemos una voz como iglesia. Y cuando usted tiene 50 pastores en un lugar, usted siente el poder. Así es que yo los invito a que ustedes vengan y sientan el poder de lo que está pasando en esta ciudad. Yo creo que Andrea lo dijo y dijo, aquí está pasando algo. Y les digo, aquí está pasando algo, acompáñennos. 6000 Herbrook, la iglesia Filadelfia. Aquí vamos a estar a las 11:30 de la mañana con el Pastor Cabrera y ustedes y todos cordialmente invitados.
Muchas gracias.
Pastor, call to action.
Yes, pastors, if you're watching this video or if you're a faith leader or you just a community leader, please, it's time for us to rise up and to fight for our values and conservative morals and values. The time is urgent for us to rise up. Did you know, faith leader, that 53 out of the 56 people that signed the Declaration of Independence were God-fearing people? You could even call yourself a patriot or an American if you weren't a Christian. So I'm just telling you right now, this nation was founded under God and with the Word of God. So it's time for the people of God to rise up and take their place in history once more again, because we're about to be 250 years old. Remember that there's no empire that has ever lasted 250 years. We're the only ones. We're 257 years old. So we have 3 years to turn this thing around. So I encourage you guys, please get involved in this fight. We are conservatives, and I love this nation. I love my family, and we're going to keep on fighting the good fight. God bless you.
En Pastor Luis and Pastora Alexa, déjame decirle que la historia de la humanidad es repetición y repetición de los mismos errores, ¿no? The history of humanity is making the same mistakes over and over because we forget our history. And as Pastor Luis Cabrera said, no democracy has lasted over 250 years. Just the Roman Empire was an empire, but it really wasn't as democratic as we'd love to see. But even they crumbled. And I remember the biblical story when Moses told the Jews, "Stay here, and I'm going to go up on the mountain and that's when he received the 10 Commandments." And when he came down, what was happening among the Jews? They were involved in lascivious activities. They were involved in trying to come up with their own leaders, and there was infighting. And you look at Israel today, and people wonder, Pastor, how did Israel take their eye off the ball? They were infighting about who's going to dominate the judicial system in Israel. And guess what happened? The evil forces to the south in Gaza attacked them. And American intelligence, Israeli intelligence, no one knew. So biblical stories, in my opinion, are powerful. They set out the map. Don't make these mistakes again. And what we see in America,
Correct.
We're making the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's the history of humanity. Is that right or wrong? May I get an amen?
Correct, and that's I mean, yeah, amen, brother. Come on now. Hey, you may be a preacher. Come on, Orlando. Pastor Orlando.
Now I want to stick to politics. I want to stick to
I didn't
politics.
see that side on you, Orlando.
Dime otra vez.
No había visto esa parte tuya de
No,
predicador.
Yo me dedico a la política. Ustedes son repitiendo la palabra del Señor. Mire, muchas
Pastor
gracias.
Cabrera, it's any way that we can find this information in our TLCP website?
Yes, I'm gonna be updating, and we're gonna send out the flyer and we're gonna put it up on the website, and then of course we're gonna send a mass email to all the people that are connected with our network, and we're excited, to host these events, and to co-host and co-sponsor, and just to bring the church together for these political forums. This is exciting.
And we need to keep doing it, because consistency is the key of successful.
Well, let me say I'm very proud
Exactly.
of my longtime friend Israel Martinez. I'm very proud of Pastor Alexa. I'm very proud of Pastor Luis, and I'm very, very proud of my friend Dave Welch, who are coming together to do their part and save this state and this country. So God bless you all. Thank you for being on, and we'll see you guys soon.
Gracias.
Thank you, gracias.
Well, I love that we did a big part of the show in Espanol.
Because your Spanish is better than mine.
No. Well, your English is better than mine, and we've been doing the show in English. But you know what? It's not about us. It's about our people. It's about our viewers. It's about our community. And people have been asking us to do this in Spanish. So we need to come out with a plan. We always say that, but we haven't done so. I think
I have
2024 resolution, it will be to do the show half an hour in English, half an hour in Spanish.
I have a resolution to this dilemma. Let's put a poll on TLC. I wonder if people want the show in Spanish or in English.
Let's put a poll on. On TLC social media. Let's do it.
All right, we'll have a poll up. You guys decide, do you want it in Spanish, do you want it in English, or do you want a combination? But in the meantime, we are here because of the generosity of very generous Texans who want to make sure that Texas continues to be the shining star in the 50 states of the Union. We do a lot of work educating our community, from young people and educating them how to get involved in the political process, to becoming candidates and press secretaries, and just grassroots workers to precinct chairs. We also have a lot of education materials. We've organized the pastors here in Texas to get the word out and get the vote out and get people registered to vote. We block walk for our candidates. We do mail for our candidates. We do commercials for our vision and our future here in the state of Texas. And we have resources online. This is a flyer that we've produced. And, you can download it. A lot of the precinct chairs in the state of Texas, if Mark will show it to us. He's over, Mark's over there.
Mark fall asleep.
This flyer talks about, and frankly, it's far away, you can't see it, but I'm going to tell you, this red graph shows the population growth in the state of Texas between the 2010 and 2020 census. And it tells you that 60% of the growth in Texas in the last census were Hispanics. So
He said,
it's on our website. Just go to it. You can download it because a lot of our precinct chairs around the state of Texas, and we have 254 precinct chairs, want to know, well, do we have any information we can pass out? Yes, just download this. You can put your county chair, if you're in Fayette County, you can put that down there. If you're in Hidalgo County and Maverick County, if you're in Valverde County, just use this. Pass it out to the community. All you have to do is go talk to the community and talk about our values. And that's what we encourage you to do. But again,
besides, encourage you people to go and vote 2 more days.
And donate. Yes.
Donate.
Yes. And don't forget, this guy right here, he's on the ballot. So
November 3rd is the last day to go and early voting. It's 2 more days. And November 7th, next Tuesday, is elections day. So here you go. Look at this.
Uh-oh. This is going to be live on TLC.
On
Look
TLC.
And you know what? I'm going to make you walk busy intersections around Houston, and just wave at cars. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All right, guys, don't forget, only 2 more days to vote early in the municipal.
It looks good, huh?
Look at you.
Look at me.
Yeah, that T-shirt really shines on you.
To go to vote. To go to vote.
He says, move the microphone so everybody gets a nice view. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. How can I lose with Andrea, doing the promo? Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
See you next Wednesday. Nos vemos el próximo miércoles. Chao, chao.